Hello and most welcome to a little lecture yet of global reality on demand now, because it's so darned interesting. It changes everything. And I want to take up today just an aspect, and that's the grave mistake that global reality is particular, what can I say, physical, has something to do with matter, and is only in physics, so to speak. Nothing could be further from the truth. Global reality is all over the place, so to speak. All over the place. If you don't understand that, you will not grasp global reality at all. If you think it's separable from your ordinary lived experience, then you are on the wrong track. Remember that quantum mechanics is observer dependent. That is quite literal. You are in on it. You're not outside of it. It is not the viewpoint from nowhere, as we've spoken so many times before. It is from somewhere, and that particular somewhere is you as an observer. You who choose the instrument that detects either a particle or a wave. That is where it starts. So all the relationships that you are concerned in or engaged in are of importance. That is global reality. It brings in family, brings in your feelings, it brings in how you experience your daily life, your attitude. Remember Pauli and the Pauli effect. He used to wreck laboratories with his sheer presence. He was way too theoretical. That ruined the result of the experiments. So he had to keep away. Poor old Pauli. And Pauli, as you know, he was also deeply entrenched, excuse me, I need to go outside the camera, in quantum mechanics as well as synchronicity. He had a huge correspondence with the famed psychoanalyst, the Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung. That is also of great importance. So, feelings, nature. It won't be done in the same fashion if you make everything sterile. In the room here I'm standing now, it's absolutely sterile. There are no plants, there are no curtains. Everything is squared. It's not nice here. That will affect the outcome of an experiment. And will also sever the relationship that you have with a truer surroundings, like nature. Nature, as we know, is of higher fractality. So let me repeat it once more. Global reality has nothing to do with physical, like in the matter thinking. That is actually a belief that could be approached in another way, I come to think now. Because in the old physics, this is this word that haunts us, matter. What is matter? Matter, particles, and so on, atoms, you have the lot. That is actually something that fell, a thinking that was to become unclear, or we came to the realization in quantum mechanics in the 20s that matter is actually not a clear denomination. If you say matter, we don't really know what you're talking about. So it's more a feeling of something material, and therefore physics becomes something that has nothing to do with me or you or anyone else, except for a little group of people called the physicists who do things in CERN down in the deep caves of Swiss nature and so on. No, not at all. It has everything to do with every relation you are involved in, and especially the humane relation, something that Jung and Pauli agreed on. How you perform your life will deeply affect the knowledge outcome, how you understand things. Therefore, we have built knowledge in a most particular way. I would take as an example Oxford, a site of knowledge that I have visited myself and had friends who studied there. In Oxford, we learn by time that it is better to have a lot of get-to-go places, pubs, rowing clubs, nature spots, parks. There's an abundance of them. But you approach somebody living in another country, the continent, or especially here in the Nordic countries, they would say, no, we can isolate local reality, nota bene. We can isolate knowledge inside the university. This is also something called logocentrism. And we take away the outside. We can tear it down because it's not really important. Knowledge is inside the book, and it's just between you and the book to sort of suck up this is so ridiculous. Suck up the knowledge in the words and you put it in your head. You don't even have to do anything. So all the relations, everything that is global is taken away. This is the worst foundation ever for knowledge. This is contra-knowledge. Every taking away something that gives broader relations, more interactions, more entanglement, which is the fancy word in quantum mechanics, will actually diminish knowledge. The more you are sort of separated from family, friends and your relations, the less you will understand also, because it's all connected to the observer, the subject. How or he or she or hen, as we say in Swedish these days, actually, is or are feeling. There's a deep connection there. Tradition is not something outside. It is actually the build-up of knowledge that takes time. Like building up something that we constructed, or the build-up of a bank that a river brings up. It takes time. Nowadays, inspired by Newton, well, since the 18th century, I think knowledge can just be based on isolation, cut everything off, as they say in The Meaning of Life, scare the baby, scare the knowledge, put everything in a sterile, bacteria-free environment like this one, rip everything humane out of it because we despise the observer, because our knowledge is coming from nowhere. It's not situated. Now we are talking Quakery. This is contra-science. It could work still. Those who say it can't work, that's not absolutely correct. Medicine is always local, but it works. But it doesn't mean that it's a true take, because even the local, when it works, comes from the global, and the global is always a better explanation, without these dubious metaphors that we've been acquired to or accustomed to, like matter, particle, atoms. I have said this 1,000 times, even though Niels Bohr, the father of quantum mechanics, created the modern atomic model, he never wanted it to be used as an existence, as a piece of matter, because that cripples the whole idea. It's bloody much more complicated, his son always said, than the idea of an existence. It's simply not enough, and it's definitely not clear. It's an obscure thing. And actually, it's much more obscure than ether. Ether did its purpose. It works to 90%, but matter is crippling. It's a bit like using things from alchemy or something like that. A sort of residue from olden days. So both locality has its history. It's the locality tradition, which we are now enforcing. It's nothing objective of it. It's a tradition, and I think this tradition we should get rid of. Go back to global reality. Build nice buildings. Have comfort zones, because they are important for understanding, not deepening the understanding. Because actually, if you just sit by yourself with a book, you will not understand anything. You will have a pretended knowledge. You will have a language game that it sounds that you are knowledgeable. This is coming from Wittgenstein. You will sound like a profound person, but there's nothing profound in imitating a certain language game. No, only once you come into the relationship with others. That's why you have rowing clubs with a long time behind. Take evolution. I think usually that's a better example. It didn't take 1 year to develop the elephant in evolution. It took millions of years. Knowledge takes time, of course. It doesn't just fall down from the skies as they thought in Enlightenment. Well, let's imitate technology, because that's successful. We don't have any ideas by ourselves, so we will just imitate technology. So we get rid of all the old knowledge, and we use the language of technology. We even changed the grammar, which was what happened. I can recommend the book, The Language of Science. See if I can remember the author. It's as a free PDF out there in the net. His initials are MK. It will come to me, I hopefully. The Language of Science. I just put it in Google. He shows how language changed radically during the Enlightenment, and it was because of imitation. A new language game that imitated technology, pretended to be technology, pretended to that there was matter and there was a momentum, and therefore we put the adjective in a quite different way. And we start using substantivization of verbs. So we made verbs into nouns in the credulence that will actually make some sort of understanding. Let's see if I can find this one here. No, I couldn't find it. The Language of Science. Halliday. Yeah. M.K. Halliday. Sorry about the delay. His name is Halliday. You can download it for free, and you can see how all language changed because of the technical revolution created by Newton and colleagues. And that's where we're living. This is why we have this. We think it's natural to cut everything off, and that causes objectivity. So my point here, it causes the opposite. It causes you to be more subjective by going into yourself. I don't say objectivity is from the point from nowhere, but it's somewhere in between, or both actually. Complementaria or contraria complementa sunt, as Niels Bohr has on his shield. That is the device you should look for. Take both. Knowledge comes from all these interactions. It's not situated in the particle. As Bohr would say, the understanding of the atom is not inside of the atom. It's all the relations that abounds around it. And it comes from the global take, and it sippers down, leaks down to the lower levels. Or actually, you could say the lower level is a projection from the totality. It's actually a bit similar to a fern, a fractal fern, where every little part of the fern represents the wholeness of the fern. And even if you go one level down, you will find the same fern once more, go one level more down, and you see it again. It's quite beautiful. This is how reality works, in this layering. But it goes from the big picture, because the big picture is also in the small one. I hope that metaphor works somehow, maybe. Yeah. So then you can understand why the little is not, it's not as Carl Leibniz. Leibniz, yeah?
Leibniz?
Yes, the philosopher of fame. Leibniz said that the monads, he called them monads, they don't have any windows. There are no windows on the monads. So you can't look in. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz said, you can't look into the monads because they don't have any windows. You get cozy window, a little plant here. You look inside and you can discern, this is this particular atom. It has a particular disjunct, separable existence. It's not dependent on anything else. And Wilhelm Leibniz's idea was that is absolutely wrong. There are no windows of the monads. There are no windows of the atoms. The atom in itself, it's not enough. It's coming from all the relations. Something that the famed physicist of Italian extraction, Carlo Rovelli, calls relational quantum mechanics, which is actually close to the Indian philosopher Nagarjuna. He speaks of everything are relations. There are no inherent existence. It sounds, I think the first time I heard that, it sounded sort of grim. You don't have an existence in yourself. It is just the opposite. You have much more existence from this. It is not a denial. It's very far from nihilism. It is an acquirement of the abundance of reality. Nothing wrong with that. It is just the opposite. It's an abundance of qualities, differences. Everything comes from this acceptance of relations, instead of the fixation of the inner window of the monad, the atom, or the word's existence, which has a long history in Western tradition. Not other traditions, but in Western existence. Started out, as Paul Feyerabend so many times pointed out, from a particular use of the word is, an eerie and weird use of the word is. And from that we came to this creation of an ontic take on reality, and we forgot, as Martin Heidegger would say, the why question. Now I'm sorry, I am all over the place. I need to focus a bit here. Kalle, you had a question there.
Yes, let me illustrate it with a I love this. I love homonyms.
I love them too.
Let me see.
It makes it easy to remember.
So this was invented by Rosen. You see, whole.
Stephen M. Rosen.
So
can
we
also.
put the W within parentheses, as you can see. And my point is, here we can actually illustrate, let's say, local reality and global reality.
Yes.
But we can also illustrate something, a very important principle, namely the wave and particle dualism.
Yes.
And more precisely, this W could be the wave.
Okay.
It looks like a wave a little bit. And here we have the particle.
Yes.
This is my invention.
Yeah.
But I think
Well, let's show it to the public. Here we have a sort of a wave, a wavy thing from the W, and here you have a particle, the O. So yeah, it's not bad.
So Derrida would put it like there is this opposition between speech, pronunciation, and written text.
Yes, yes.
And you need both. The speech is not superior to the written text.
No.
Or local reality.
Yes.
You speak about global reality.
Yes.
That's correct. But let's take both in local reality.
Yeah, why not?
Local reality is the particular.
Oh, okay.
It's Swedish nature is not like Greek
No.
But
Well, now even more all over the place. Let's focus the last 5 minutes. But very good, of course. We should make a whole lecture about this W and particle. So knowledge can only come once you start entering into relationship with your surroundings. It's actually teamwork. If I can remember the sociology that show that the creation of the Higgs boson as a teamwork. It's something that a team, they even physically met, sorry about the use of physical, but they met for 1.5 years to create the Higgs boson, a teamwork that takes a lot of loyalty, confidence, and actually a bit of secretiveness. We don't realize that. We are stranded in the old idea that there's no connection to human beings. And he says it's absolutely wrong. I don't remember the name of this chap, but I think that's incredibly important here. It is something we do together. Quantum mechanics was mostly made in a castle outside Brussels. And there were loads of people there, and it depended on their friendliness that they were good friends. For instance, Niels Bohr and Einstein always remained friends, and that was what created quantum mechanics. Although they, in the end, went separate ways. So you agree on something, and it's not an agreement that is not connected to friendliness, just the opposite. You get to know some people. I think it'll be harder to find the name of that. It was so interesting. He showed over and over again, people meet, they have these conferences, often in secretive, a confidence builds up, and there you can feel that you're safe enough to propose different things, and you agree on it. And if it's no longer agreed upon, it will fall. That doesn't mean it's subjective. That is what objectivity is. What is subjective, in a bad manner or emotional, is the idea that there is knowledge in the book, inside the letters, or that there are existences. Then you will deviate into an emotional dead end. It's actually quite close to private language. And you know that it's a dead alley. It will terminate your path. You will do the same thing over and over again. You will not learn anything, because our language games are dependent on a club, a union, group of people. We know that, we've been using it in the universities, but because of the Enlightenment and Newtonianism, maybe we discarded it way too much. So we need to bring back that again. It wouldn't be any point either. I think it was Heisenberg said, what would the point on physics if you don't get good friends at the same time? It would be pointless. Completely meaningless. So there is a soul in science that I think this is supposed to be liberal arts. They acknowledge that to a much lesser extent than physics. The human part, which is the major part, the observer. So, more global, less local. That sort of sums it up. Thank you very much and have a pleasant afternoon. Bye-bye.